So what is Monster Hunter Now? Well, if you found this video by searching for Monster Hunter 6, it's not that. Monster Hunter Now is an augmented reality GPS map-based game. It's Pokemon Go. It's Pokemon Go, but for Monster Hunter. But it's Pokemon Go, but for Monster Hunter. It's also being developed by Niantic, which is the company that develops Pokemon Go, which is very much a double-edged sword. On one hand, the infrastructure is all there. The Pokestops will be like mining points and bone piles and things to gather resources. They have the coding and data and experience to spawn monsters around the world. The company has learned a lot from running Pokemon Go for all these years. It's been 7 years, which is crazy. But on the other hand, Niantic has been getting a worse and worse rap over the years because of their monetization practices. Like, it used to be free to participate in events, and now there are certain Pokemon that you have to pay like $8 to get a chance to get, and like, ugh. If you're a dedicated player and you play all the time, then $8 is not a big deal. You pay $60, $70 for a console game. But Niantic has been extremely profitable in prior years, even without those kind of monetization practices. So it should be unnecessary, or you should find like a different, more elective way to monetize. And the comments on that release trailer are very, very mixed and leaning towards negative. So I completely understand your gripes with Niantic. I have them too. But myself and others have had some really magical moments with Pokemon Go. Like, my first Zapdos raid was literally meeting up with strangers in a thunderstorm in some downtown place I hadn't been before, and it was really cool because we all did that and caught the Zapdos, and it was sick. I would never have had that experience without Pokemon Go. As of recording this video, the beta test has ended, but I'm gonna go over a Polygon article from a couple months ago just to dive into the details a little bit more in case you don't know about it or you haven't read it yourself. It says, a little over 4 years ago, Niantic reps sat down with Capcom to propose a Monster Hunter game similar to what Niantic had done with Pokemon Go. To hear the companies tell the story, Capcom agreed to it right there in the room. Probably because they saw how much money Pokemon Go was making. Within a few months, Niantic had ramped up hiring at its newly created Tokyo studio and built a prototype with monsters laid over a real-world map. Over the next 4 years, Niantic chipped away at the idea, built out the technology, tried some things that didn't work out, like making all combat based around gyroscope controls. Would that be like swinging your sword and stuff like that? I feel like that would end up being terrible, so I'm glad that didn't happen. And settled on an approach that will feel very familiar to Monster Hunter fans. Ahead of Niantic showing the game at Summer Games Fest, Polygon participated in a closed beta test and spoke with CEO John Hanke and Chief Product Officer Kei Kawai, as well as Capcom Monster Hunter executive producer Ryozo Tsujimoto, and Monster Hunter Now producer Genki Tsunano, to get a closer look at how the game has come together. Like most Niantic games, Monster Hunter Now places you on a real-world map and asks you to explore the fictional universe layered on top. Here, that means digging up resources and fighting monsters while exploring swamps, deserts, and forests. It says that the interface is a lot faster than Pokemon Go. You can spot a smaller enemy on the map, tap on them, and zoom in and fight, and take them out within a few quick hits, which is very different from Monster Hunter itself, but again, it's hard to stop every 5 seconds to fight a monster if it's gonna take 20 minutes when you're outside in the sun. It says bigger monsters come with a bit more setup, so just like traditional games, but I think they're referring to things like Jagras and Jaggy and Velospray and that kind of thing, in terms of the smaller monsters. It says digging for resources can be pretty quick too. I think it's gonna be similar to like spinning a Pokestop, and it says that you get your very own Palico, which is pretty hype. I think that's awesome. It's been a staple of the main games for years, and it's gonna be pretty sick to have your own Palico. I hope that you can customize them a lot and that kind of stuff. It says that the Palico can run around and do much of the digging for you, so you can like lock your phone and have the Palico run around for you if you're busy doing other things and you want to kind of play the game passively. So essentially it's saying you can fight if you have time, but if you want to play more passively and just grind in the background, then you can also do that. Again, I've seen a lot of complaining online, but there's literally idle games that have like millions of downloads, and I don't like playing like little idle games. It's like you're just watching stuff happen essentially. But in a game like this where Monster Hunter is all about grinding anyway, like I think that's kind of cool that it takes some of the grind away, and then if you want to grind for like more rare monster parts, you go out, you hunt dedicated monsters, and you go around maps and actually hunt them down and fight those monsters and grind for gear. I mean, we all know if you've played Monster Hunter for a long time, it takes forever to get like the plates or gems or similar really rare monster parts. So as long as you don't have to pay to get those, then it's gonna be fine with me. I'll enjoy the grind. You can also paintball monsters, so if you see like a Rathalos when you're out doing something and you can't fight it right then because you gotta get on a bus or something, you can just paintball it and then fight it later, which I think is sick. The gameplay consists of touch, tap, and swipe movements, so yeah, it's a mobile game, but I think the emphasis on action is there, and I think that it can turn out to be a really fun game. Between the time that we designed Pokemon Go, which started in 2014, I guess, and we started working on this game in 2019, mobile networks got a lot better and a lot more robust. There was a lot lower latency, so we feel like we could push the envelope in terms of fast, high-speed, low latency combat in multiplayer, says Hanky. One of the game's big twists on the Monster Hunter formula is a 75-second timer on fights. Designed to make it easy to play with others outdoors, this changes your priorities in battle, where you may try to avoid taking a hit, not because of the damage you'd take, but because of the time your recovery animation would eat up. According to Kawhi, the team has gone through extensive experiments to nail down the time window and is still open to adjusting it as the team gathers more feedback. We'll see how it goes, he says. I don't think we'll ever have 20-minute battles. The speed also ties into how the game's multiplayer works, which is quicker and simpler than something like Pokemon Go. There's no lobby, you just tap an icon, and when you're ready to fight a monster, the game will send you names of players nearby who are ready to join in, tap again, and you all head in to fight, with up to 4 players at once. So it's keeping the traditional 4 players only, which is really sick because it goes all the way back to that Kokoto legend, if you know what I'm talking about. The beta doesn't allow players to purchase the game's currency, instead doling out a certain amount per day for free, used for items like potions to refill health, well done steak to increase your life bar temporarily, which is kind of weird, I guess there's no stamina system in this, and a wander orb to increase the size of the area where you can find things while exploring. So I guess similar to like an incense or a lore. So it's hard to judge how well the game will balance its difficulty, progression, and monetization at this point. What's next? One of the big questions remaining is how the game will evolve after the early stages. We know players will be able to forge new weapons and armor and upgrade their gear, and find bigger and more difficult monsters to fight. But I was only able to cover the first hour of the beta for this story, so it's hard to say how different the game will feel as you increase your rank over time. Niantic also says that the game will change quite a bit prior to its official release in September, so we may see additional features added between now and then. Like cooking? We're not going to talk about it today, Kawaii says, with a laugh. Regardless, I'm pretty happy with how the game exists right now. Much like Pokemon, the Monster Hunter license feels like a natural fit for a map-based game, and exploring to find monsters, dig up bones, metals, and crystals feels much stronger narratively than, say, walking to grow plants in Pikmin Bloom or collecting crystals to increase your stamina in NBA All World. You do throw paintballs to save monsters in a Rolodex to fight them whenever you feel like it, but sometimes convenience is more important. So all in all, it sounds promising to me. I'm super hyped for this. I hope you will take this journey with me, and it's going to be free to play, so if you're at all interested, at least you can just download it, play it for an afternoon, and if you don't like it, just uninstall it. I played Pokemon Go when it first came out for 3 years, almost every single day. And honestly, the reason I fell off was because I had kids and I had to be inside all the time, and then COVID happened and I was inside all the time and I didn't feel like, doing all the remote features and stuff. I didn't want to dive back in, taking care of my kids in a pandemic. But I was almost entirely free to play that entire time, and I got up to level 36, and I wasn't like trying to level grind that hard. I think I spent like literally $20 like the whole 3 years I played the game. But now my kids are starting to go to school and I'm gonna have a lot more free time to explore this game. And I'm gonna play this game. And to the 2 of you who haven't clicked off yet, my name is Zach, and this is Hunter's Notes. This channel is going to be dedicated to 1, playing the game, and 2, giving you info on the game. So even if you don't download it, at least you can live vicariously through me, because like I said, I'm gonna play the game anyway. I played the heck out of Pokemon Go, and when the Monster Hunter Now trailer dropped, I got super hyped because I've always wanted a game like this. Even when Pokemon Go first came out, I was like, dude, it would be so cool if there was like a Monster Hunter version of this or a D&D version of this where you had to hunt down monsters and actually fight them. I've been a fan of Monster Hunter since Gen 1 on the PlayStation 2, and I've played every single game up until now. see what I did there? This channel is obviously heavily inspired by Trainer Tips. He's half of the reason I kept playing Pokemon Go, because it was fun seeing his journey and seeing the similarities and the differences that he had compared to my experience. So if you are at all interested in this game, then subscribe down below and come on this journey with me, because I'm gonna be playing it regardless.